was asking about the hidden pork, and Senator Allen was responding to that. Don Hooper, your response?
Okay, whenever a question is put forth from an audience like this, it tends to get melted down a little bit before it gets to the last candidate. Now, the real issue that he was asking about was, would you sign a bill that you have never read? And I can't even describe a word except for absurdity. No such a thing would ever be done, and it has not been done in the history of this country before. If you remember Nancy Pelosi said, well, sign the bill and then we'll tell you what's in it after a while. Now, that's really Americana. But anyway, as far as passing legislation that has not been read, I'll carry it a step further. There was a gentleman that is a congressman from the state of Arizona, and he tried to pass a law, and he couldn't get it into law because Nancy wouldn't let him, but it's called the Enumerated Powers Act. Now, I didn't say enumerated powers, I said the act. And he tried to get this legislation passed, and they considered it as a rule, and they put it into committee, but that's as far as they would go with it. The Enumerated Powers Act means that if you're going to have a bill passed by the United States Congress, whether it be in the Senate or the House of Representatives, you must provide an essay or else another letter of how it would fit into the Constitution of the United States. In other words, if you've got a bill, you have to prove to the people of this country that it is constitutional. And if you can't do that, then it shouldn't even get off of the floor. So by all means, I think that the Enumerated Powers Act should be put into law. And with the rest of the question, Bill, would you relate some more of it that you wanted? Or no, John, his name is. Lobbyist, okay. No, I will not accept any money. I'd sign anything anybody wants to say about it, because I have been a victim of lobbyists for a long time. In running against Bart Stupak, he would come up with an automatic $750,000 every year, and I could come up with about 4,000 or 5,000, and that's it. So now how do you run against a guy that's got 400 times more money than you do? It's almost an impossible task. So that leads you into campaign finance. You see, you've got to change campaign finance. And I've got a real simple one for you, and I know I don't have much time, so I'm going to tell you just how it would work very easily. If you're running for a local office, let's say in a county, you can't collect money for your campaign outside of that county. If you're running for a state office, let's say the U.S. Senator, you cannot collect money from any place outside of the state of Michigan here. If you're running for a congressional job like all we are doing here, you should not be able to collect money from outside of the 1st District of Michigan. Now that's what you call a level playing field. And if we don't get a law like that, we're going to be continuously, right now I'm up against over $300,000 from one of the candidates, and it's a very rough hill to climb. Do I have, I'm about there?
Yeah, we're about wrapped up on that one, so we can get to other questions as well.
All right.
Do we have any other questions from the audience, first off, that would like to do some verbal? We also have some written ones, too. With several hands up, let's go ahead and grab some more from using the wireless mic. Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Allen, when you got up...
Sir, can I get you to speak up just a little bit? Your voice a little...
Speak louder?
Yes, please.
Maybe this way.
There you go.
Mr. Allen, when you got up, you criticized the Democrats, the Obama administration. Don't you think that he was put in a position that was very difficult to make those decisions that he's had to make today with Mr. Bush's administration?
Well, let's go through the items, and you're talking about the Obama tax plan and the way that he has implemented the, is that correct? Is it talking about the Obama tax plan?
No, you sound like you were against Mr. Obama and what he's doing.
I certainly am.
Okay, now what did Mr. Bush do for us to help us? He put us in a condition that we're in right today, that we're trying to get out of.
Well, let's go through the factors that we are dealing with as a country. As number one is the out-of-control spending. Now, the aspect of the policies that Obama has laid out are far different than what Jack Kennedy in 1961 did. If you look at the Keynesian model that he went through, and in some tough economic times, instead of increasing taxes, burdens on family, and going to a socialistic society, in effect what he did is he lowered business taxes to start creating entrepreneurship. We know that it is much better if we could have had some sort of a massive reduction for a year. I recognize that it would have potentially run up the deficit, but to create investment and create jobs. We know that instead of creating temporary jobs with these sort of stimulus jobs, in fact, what we should have done, and I would have pushed very hard and never voted for the Obama stimulus package, is we would have reduced the Michigan and the national tax rates. And in fact, what we've got to do is we've got to encourage the inflow of dollars. There are trillions of dollars overseas that need to be brought back into this country. We need to create that investment strategies to allow for entrepreneurs to be moving forward. We do not need additional expansion of government.
Well, the money in the wars started with the Iraq War.
Sure. Okay, this will be what you get to do. One follow-up. You're concerned about the money from the wars?
Well, the money we're spending over in the other countries.
Sure.
We're spending in these other countries because we're fighting the wars that Mr. Bush got us into.
Okay, so you're concerned about the money spent on...
I was in the Speaker's office when 9/11 happened, and it was not something that I'm really sure that George Bush started.
Okay, I can only do one follow-up, not to cut you off, but only because we've got to make sure everybody has a chance to speak. So with that in mind, how much time do we have we had 30 minutes for questions for this race.
I don't know what the timing was for this part. I just did the first 3 minutes.
Okay, I understand. I think we're at about 11 minutes.